You open the menu at a restaurant. Everyone else has already chosen. The waiter is standing right there. And you're still reading, rereading, comparing, thinking, what if I pick the wrong thing? What if I regret it? So you just point at something random, and for the rest of the meal, you're thinking about what you should have ordered instead. Sound familiar? Because it's never really about the menu, it's about how your brain works. And today, we're going to break that down completely. Most people think overthinking is just a habit, that if you tell yourself to stop, it stops, that if you just distract yourself, it goes away. It doesn't. Overthinking is not a personality flaw. It's not a sign that you're weak, or neurotic, or dramatic. It is a symptom of a brain that learned somewhere along the way that thinking more equals being safer. Your brain is not trying to torture you. Your brain is trying to protect you. It believes that if you analyze every option long enough, you will find the perfect answer, the one that guarantees no pain, no regret, no mistakes. The problem is, that answer doesn't exist, and your brain doesn't know that. Yet, so it keeps searching, it keeps running the scenarios, it keeps asking, what if, what if, what if, and you pay the price for that search every single day. There's a name for this in psychology. It's called maladaptive thinking, a pattern that was once useful, but has now become the source of the problem itself. Your brain developed this for a reason. Maybe mistakes were punished. Maybe unpredictability was the norm. Maybe thinking ahead was the only control you had. Whatever the reason, your brain learned its rule. More thinking equals more safety, and it never got the update that says, sometimes, thinking too much is the most dangerous thing you can do. Overthinking doesn't just happen during big decisions. It shows up everywhere, and most of the time, you don't even realize it's happening. Number one, you replay conversations. Something happens. A conversation ends, and then for the next 3 hours, you replay every single word you said. Did that sound wrong? Did they take it the wrong way? Why did I say it like that? You are editing a conversation. That is already over and cannot be changed. Number two, you can't commit to plans. Someone asks if you want to do something next weekend. Simple question. But your brain immediately starts, what if something better comes up? What if I'm tired? What if I don't feel like it by then? So you say, maybe. Number three, you ask for opinions, but it doesn't help. You ask 5 different people what they think. They all give different answers. Now you have 5 opinions, and you're more confused than before, because the problem was never a lack of information. The problem is that no amount of information ever feels like enough. Number 4, you make a decision and then immediately question it. You finally choose. Relief for about 30 seconds. Then the doubt starts creeping in. What if I made the wrong choice? What if the other option was better? You unmake the decision in your head 100 times after already making it. And number 5, small decisions feel as heavy as big ones. What to eat, what to wear, which message to send first. For an overthinker, the weight of a decision has nothing to do with its actual importance. Everything feels equally urgent. Everything feels like it matters, and that is absolutely exhausting. Here's the part that most people skip. They focus on the symptoms. They try to stop overthinking. But they never ask, why is my brain doing this in the first place? The answer almost always comes back to one thing: anxiety about uncertainty. Your brain hates not knowing what's going to happen. Uncertainty feels dangerous, and overthinking, as exhausting as it is, gives your brain the illusion of control. If I think about this long enough, maybe I can predict what happens. Maybe I can prevent the bad outcome. Maybe I can guarantee the right result. It's an illusion, but it's a very, very convincing one. There's also something psychologists call the negativity bias. Your brain is hardwired to pay more attention to potential threats than to potential rewards. This made sense for survival thousands of years ago. But in modern life, your brain applies that same survival logic to emails, to conversations, to lunch choices. It scans for what could go wrong. It amplifies risks. It minimizes the upside. And then it tells you you need to think about this more. But here's what's really underneath all of that. For many overthinkers, there's a deeper fear. Not just the fear of making the wrong choice, but the fear of being judged for making the wrong choice. The fear that your decision will reveal something about you, your intelligence, your competence, your worth. So the thinking isn't just problem solving. It's self-protection. Every extra minute you spend analyzing is a minute you feel less exposed, less vulnerable, less likely to be wrong in a way that other people can see. Let's talk about the real price. Because overthinking doesn't just feel uncomfortable. It is actively taking things from you. It's taking your time. The average overthinker spends hours every day inside their own head, Not solving problems, not making progress, just circling, just replaying, just preparing for scenarios that will never happen. That time is gone, you don't get it back, it's taking your confidence. Every time you second-guess yourself, you send your brain a message, I don't trust my own judgment, do that enough times, and your brain starts to believe it. Over time, overthinkers often lose the ability to trust their own instincts entirely, because they've spent years overriding them with analysis. It's taking your relationships, you read into messages, you analyze tone, you replay arguments, you prepare for conversations that haven't happened yet, you are never fully present with the people in front of you, because part of you is always somewhere else, running scenarios. It's taking your joy. This one hurts the most. You finally get something good, a new job, a trip planned, a relationship going well, and instead of enjoying it, your brain immediately starts looking for what could go wrong, how this could end, what you might lose. Joy becomes contaminated by the anticipation of its loss, and it's taking your health. Chronic overthinking keeps your nervous system in a constant low-level stress state. Elevated cortisol, disrupted sleep, tension in the body. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. It responds to your worst-case scenarios as if they are actually happening right now. Nobody is born an overthinker. This pattern was built, and understanding where it came from is the first step to changing it for many people. Overthinking developed in childhood as a coping mechanism. Maybe your home environment was unpredictable, and paying close attention to everything around you was how you stayed safe. You learned to read the room before entering it. You learned to anticipate reactions before they happened. Thinking ahead was protection. For others, it came from perfectionism. The belief, often planted by parents, teachers, or early experiences, that mistakes are not acceptable, that the right answer always exists, that good enough, is never good enough. So you keep thinking, keep refining, keep searching, because stopping feels like settling for some people. It came from a single experience, a decision that went badly, a mistake that had real consequences, and your brain made a rule: never again. Never again will you decide without thinking it through completely. Never again will you be caught off guard, whatever the origin. The pattern made sense at some point. It was a rational response to your environment. The problem is, your brain kept running it long after the environment changed. You grew up. The stakes lowered, but the software never updated. Now let's talk about what actually works, not toxic positivity, not just stop thinking. Real tools that address what's actually happening in your brain. The first tool: set a thinking deadline. Give yourself a specific, limited amount of time to think about a decision. 5 minutes for small decisions. 1 day for medium ones. 1 week for genuinely big ones. When the time is up, you decide. The goal is not to find the perfect answer. The goal is to make a good enough decision with the information you have. Your brain will resist this. It will tell you that you need more time, that you haven't thought about it enough. Recognize that voice and don't negotiate with it. The second tool: separate the decision from the outcome. Overthinkers confuse these two things constantly. A good decision can lead to a bad outcome. A bad decision can lead to a good outcome. Outcomes involve luck, timing, other people, factors you cannot control. You can only control the quality of your decision, not what happens afterward. When you accept this, the pressure of every decision drops significantly. The third tool: ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Not 5 minutes. 5 years. Most things that feel critical right now will be completely irrelevant in 5 years. Some won't even be relevant in 5 days. This question doesn't minimize the decision. It puts it in proportion, and proportion is exactly what overthinking destroys. The fourth tool: notice the thought. Don't engage with it. When the overthinking spiral starts, most people try to think their way out of it. They engage with each thought, analyze it, argue with it. This doesn't work, it feeds the spiral. Instead, simply notice. There's the overthinking again, not judging it, not fighting it, just observing it from a small distance. This is what psychologists call metacognition, thinking about your thinking, and it's one of the most powerful tools available. The fifth tool: build a track record of trust. Every time you make a decision and it works out, even imperfectly, you are building evidence. Evidence that your judgment can be trusted. Start small, make small decisions quickly. Notice that nothing catastrophic happens. Over time, your brain updates its belief: I can decide, I can handle what comes next, I don't need to think forever to be safe. Here's the thing that nobody talks about. Underneath all the analysis, underneath all the what-ifs and the replaying and the second-guessing, Overthinking is asking for something very specific. It's asking for safety. It's asking for certainty. It's asking for a guarantee that things will be okay. And the painful truth is, that guarantee doesn't exist. Not for you, not for anyone. Every person you admire who seems decisive, who seems confident, who seems to move through life without getting stuck, they don't have more certainty than you do. They have just made peace with uncertainty. They decided that moving imperfectly is better than standing still perfectly. You are allowed to not know how it will turn out. You are allowed to choose without being sure. You are allowed to be wrong sometimes and still be okay. Your overthinking brain is not your enemy. It is a part of you that is trying very hard to keep you safe. In the only way it knows how, it just needs to learn a new way. If you recognized yourself in this video, you have been carrying the weight of every unresolved decision for a long time. That is exhausting in a way that most people don't see. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are someone whose brain learned to work overtime and it can learn to rest. If this helped you, share it with someone who thinks too much. They need to hear this, and whatever decision you've been putting off, you already know enough. You are ready.